He, communications officer aboard the Imperial Dreadnought Eternal Glory, stared at his display in disbelief. Grand Admiral, a single ship has entered the system. It appears to be human. Grand Admiral Vex scoffed, his scaled skin glistening under the command deck's lights. One human vessel against our armada of 300 ships? Display it on the main screen. The image materialized before the bridge crew, a sleek, silver craft, dwarfed by the surrounding Imperial vessels. Its design was unfamiliar, lacking the typical human military markings. Send the standard surrender demand, Vex ordered. If they comply immediately, I might be generous enough to make their deaths quick. Across the void, Captain James Miller of the experimental vessel Prometheus received the transmission. He sat alone on the bridge, surrounded by blinking consoles and holographic displays. The ship's AI, Attilaeus, had already translated the message. They're demanding our immediate surrender, Attilaeus reported, its voice calm and measured. Miller nodded, running a hand through his gray-streaked hair, as expected. Are the systems ready? All systems operational, Captain. The quantum dissipation field is charged at 97% and rising. Miller glanced at the small photograph taped to his console. Earth, or what remained of it after the Empire's first strike 3 years ago. 2 billion dead in a day. The remaining human colonies have been fighting a losing war ever since. Until now. Send no response, Miller said. Begin the approach. On the Eternal Glory, Admiral Vex watched with growing irritation as the human vessel accelerated toward the Harvest fleet. They ignore our demands, his second-in-command observed. Should we open fire? Vex smiled, revealing rows of pointed teeth. Let them come closer. I want them to see the full might of the Empire before they die. The human vessel continued its approach, seeming almost insignificant against the backdrop of massive Imperial warships. Sir, the tactical officer called out, I'm detecting an unusual energy signature from the human ship. It's like nothing in our database. Vex frowned. A new weapon? Raise shields and prepare to. He never finished the order. Aboard the Prometheus, Miller watched the readout as the quantum dissipation field reached full power. Field at 100%, Captain, Attilaeus announced. Initiating in 3, 2, 1. Miller closed his eyes. For Earth. A pulse of pale blue light emerged from the Prometheus, expanding outward in a perfect sphere. It wasn't bright or dramatic, just a subtle wave of energy that passed through space like a ripple on water. When it touched the first Imperial ship, the laws of physics momentarily rewrote themselves in a localized bubble. The quantum bonds holding atoms together simply ceased to exist. The massive warship didn't explode. It didn't break apart. It simply dissolved into its component atoms, becoming a dispersing cloud of particles. On the Eternal Glory, Admiral Vex watched in horror as ship after ship in his fleet disappeared, consumed by the expanding blue wave. What is happening? He demanded, panic rising in his voice. All ships, evasive maneuvers. But there was nowhere to run. The wave continued outward, touching ship after ship, dissolving each into clouds of drifting particles. Not fire, not explosion, just peaceful dissolution, as if they had never been built at all. Sir, it's approaching our position, the tactical officer reported, voice trembling. Our shields have no effect. Nothing is stopping it. Admiral Vex stood frozen, watching the blue wave approach. In his final moments, he understood that everything the Empire had built, their weapons, their conquest, their supposed superiority, had been rendered meaningless by a single human ship. The wave touched the Eternal Glory, and the great dreadnought ceased to exist. Miles away, Captain Miller opened his eyes to Atlas's voice. Field dissipation complete. 312 Imperial vessels neutralized. No survivors detected. Miller nodded silently, staring at the empty space where, moments ago, the mightiest fleet in the Empire had been positioned. The quantum dissipation field has depleted all available power. Attilaeus continued. We have enough reserves for life support and a transmission to Fleet Command. Open the channel, Miller said, his voice weary. Admiral Helen Garcia's face appeared on the main screen, her expression a mixture of hope and disbelief. Captain Miller, did it work? Miller nodded. It worked, Admiral. The field functions exactly as designed. 300 Imperial ships neutralized without a single conventional weapon fired. Arcia closed her eyes briefly, relief washing over her features. Prometheus. The drive core is depleted. We expected that. We'll need a Tau home, but the data has been recorded and transmitted to you. The quantum dissipation technology can be replicated. You've given humanity a fighting chance, Captain. A real chance to survive. Garcia's voice was thick with emotion. Rescue ships are on their way. The War Council is already discussing terms to present to the Empire. Miller looked again at the photograph of Earth. Tell them no terms, Admiral. The Empire destroyed our homeworld, then murdered billions without warning or mercy. His voice was quiet but resolute. We now have the means to ensure they never harm another species again. As the transmission ended, Miller gazed out at the stars. For the first time in 3 years, he allowed himself to feel something close to peace. Humanity had been pushed to the edge of extinction, but they had responded not with surrender, but with ingenuity born of desperation. A single ship had accomplished what entire fleets could not. And soon, the Empire would learn what it meant to face a species with nothing left to lose.